more than half reduction, the risk reduction of cardiovascular disease in people who use the sauna at least 4 times a week compared to
That's a crazy stat, isn't it? G'day folks, welcome back to another Sauna Sessions with Shay. We're going across the internet, across the globe here. Well, not across the globe, but just down the road in Melbourne. We've got Omer. How are you, Omer?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good. Mate, thanks for joining me on another edition of Sauna Sessions with Shay. Now, I've reached out online via Facebook to get, and especially in a sauna group, to get a few more active candidates who are specifically into their sauna loving. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that Omer in the background here has got a wood-fired sauna. And mate, mine's not as fancy as that. Can you talk us through your sauna setup, mate? Because it's quite spectacular. It's I feel quite at ease talking to you with this fire burning in the background, and all I need now is some rain on a tin roof, and I'm in meditation land. So, mate, what was the process for getting the wood-fired sauna?
Well, this was actually an interesting story because we were looking for houses in the neighborhood. So this is our first home.
Yep.
In Australia, and we have those visits with the real estate agent, and she shows us one over there, the other one over there, and everything has minus, always plus or minus something.
Yep.
Anyway, she tells us, oh, I have a house, but there's something extraordinary with that house. And I said, like, what is this? And she said, there is a sauna in the backyard. I'm like,
yeah. Yep.
All right, don't show me that, because if you show me that, I'll end up buying a house straight on.
So
Anyway,
you tweak straight away. Yep.
Look, absolutely, you can just call and verify that story from the real estate to be honest. So we went to this inspection of this property for, again, I don't know, 3 times, and every single time I did not get into the sauna.
Yep.
Like purposefully, like because I knew it, like if I go there, my mind will be confused, I'll be distracted, I'll be, biased towards like, let's buy this property. Anyway,
yeah.
So that property came down to us again after a month. So we put an offer, they rejected, and then a month later just turned out to be, all right, that's it, this is time. So when you bought the house, I said, all right, this is the time, I can now get in and check it. So this was actually here when we bought the house. So previous owners were North European.
There you go. Okay. Yep.
What we've been told is they brought that, they ordered the material from there and they just assembled here. That's what we've been told. I haven't verified that story, but this is supposed to be a European cedar wood.
Yep.
So I'll just take it.
Were you on the edge of buying the house? Like, were you sort of teetering on the fence to buy the house, and then you saw the sauna? It's like, okay, we got to take this house.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I just didn't want to get in until we actually bought it. So then we finally got the house, and I said, okay, now I can check the sauna.
Yep.
So
awesome,
that's how it began. I was a bit, all those years, I was a bit skeptical about the sauna, and I'm like, all right, what's the point? It's just getting some sweat and it's pretty uncomfortable anyway. So what's the big deal with that? And as you, I guess, go through stages in life, then your concepts change, your thought process change, and obviously you do some research about it, and then finally you experience. And I guess with all that information, your attitude towards that thing changes as well.
Yeah, mate, I'm a little bit jealous. To me, it's like I've got a smoker here and it's got pellets, but there's something about, I think, putting a piece of hickory in to a fire pot and burning wood that way and getting that smell through the meat. And I think it's very similar to a sauna. And I don't know, it's taking it back to the caveman days, the prehistoric days, where you're actually feeding a fire and, there's no just turning knobs and stuff. You actually have to feed the fire to get the thing nice and hot. So, yeah, mate, I'm a little bit jealous, and I'd love to come down and try your sauna one day because it just looks an amazing masterpiece.
More than welcome. So the addition of the lights you see there is, we did that with my electrician friend.
Okay.
So these are, DIY project. So it
Nice.
changes the whole thing nicely. And yeah, so the wood part of thing is actually, I guess, that attracts me the most because every piece of wood you get, you kind of like have to feel it as well, like smell it, feel it.
Oh, you
So you
can't beat that
obviously
smell, mate.
you yeah, you chop it and then you feel, all
Yeah.
right, let me see. Oh, this is gonna burn nice. No, no, this is too light. So you kind of like get that estimation of how good is that gonna burn. And there's obviously a mastery of that, like stacking small pieces and then getting onto big, larger pieces slowly, and then getting that sour at the end. And
Oh, for
you
sure.
also go through that process as well. All right, this is how I do it with this one. Oh, I have little gum sticks and they will burn nicely in the middle, so I will put that in. And it's like a almost like a recipe down there.
What sort of wood are you burning, Omer?
So for kindling, I just get it from the neighborhood
Yep.
and some pine
Yep.
cones. So these ones are good
Oh,
kindling as
pine
well.
cones. Yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah, and then for what I call is a middle section, which is when your fire is a little bit bigger, but not as
Yep.
big as just to get a big piece on. So I need something like that
Okay.
size typically.
Right.
So this
Okay.
is typically a gum, so gum works wonderful in that size.
Right.
And then finally, whatever I find, this here my friend arranged as part of kind of a bark tree. So
Okay.
this is a bark. Uh,
Right.
last year I
And
used,
you've chopped it and yep, got it to
yeah,
size.
this is chopped.
Yep.
Last year I used red gum. Red gum was brilliant, brilliant. And
Nice.
this type of bark seems to be really, really close to it.
Yep.
So yeah, all that experience is brilliant. Like you find those pieces and then you just
The
chop them
little
and see
pieces
the
of
color and
gold.
the
Yeah.
yeah, the texture. And then if it's fresh, then you have the smell as well. Like I have
Yes.
typically I would put some fresh on top of the stones. So if I
Yep.
get some fresh thing, then I put it on so that
Yep.
so it dries.
Right.
And then when it
Gotcha.
dries, you
Yep.
can actually get the smell in the sauna. Like when you put an olive tree or a fig tree, then you
Yep.
feel like, oh, okay, that's fruity smell is coming from the olive. It's just amazing.
Lovely. And what kind of temperatures are you getting it up to? Have you got a thermometer
Uh,
in?
why I do, but it's on this side. So because this is
Yep.
an external sauna, I guess that underestimates the real temperature. So
Yeah. Okay.
whatever is I see there, I think it's about at least 5 degrees more, the actual
Yeah.
temperature in the middle,
Okay.
like towards the stove.
Yep.
My favorite is about 60, 65, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. And how long are you staying in for?
So that would typically be 70. Um, I try to go 2 rounds,
Two round.
depending
Yep.
on how it feels.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes just one whole session, just
Okay.
30-minute blocks. Otherwise, 20 plus 20 or something like that would be my
Oh, that's
usual.
a good effort, mate. That's good. So you're getting. So do you find that your body is now used? Because I know that my body knows it's like, oh yeah, it's sauna time, and it just opens up, and I sweat like there's no tomorrow. So I've got to make sure I've got a lot of water in here, because once the waterworks start up, I can't stop it. it's it's crazy. Even this morning, it was
Yeah.
I with the gym that I work out at. I generally have a sauna after the end of the workout, and I don't know if you noticed, but like when you get out of the sauna, your body takes a while for everything to shut down. So you keep sweating. And so I was on the phone in the car and I got out of the car and I was wet from head to toe on with all my new clothes on. So they had to go straight in the wash and I had to get another set. So yeah, it's just once you open up the pores and you start sweating,
Yeah.
your body, and especially if you're doing it for 20, 30 minutes, it's very hard well, it takes a bit of time for them to close over and, stop sweating. Mm.
Absolutely. It's like for the human body, it's like a stress, yeah. This is
Yes. Yeah.
we're doing a stress in a healthy, let's say, way. So it's
Mm.
almost similar to an exercise session. So this is called the passive heating.
Yep.
Obviously, the exercise is active heating component. They
Yep.
have both benefits, somewhat similar, somewhat different, but at the end, it turns out to be let's say, beneficial stress to the human body, which obviously have some cool down period afterwards. Like both after the exercise and the sauna, you really gotta cool down and just do
Yes.
nothing, typically
Yep.
just hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
For sure, for sure. Well, that's the one thing that I learnt myself probably a couple of months ago. Like I was probably saunaing 4 or 5 times a week, but I started to feel pretty ordinary. And I went and got blood tests and everything, and I found out like, your potassium and zinc were low. And so those you have to replace them. So water just doesn't cut the mustard every time. You've got to, get some electrolytes back into the system. So obviously I'm doing it a bit, but it just sort of just caught me out, and I thought, and you just felt really flat, and you weren't too sure why. But yeah, those major minerals that your body needs, they were lacking. So I really needed to make sure that I supplement them when I do the sauna, because I can sweat a lot, and so the body needs to recuperate that. I heard someone saying, and I think it sort of rings true, is you can run a 42-kilometer marathon and just keep and drink water, but it's not going to rehydrate you to your fullest, because you still need those, the electrolytes through the system to charge things up and to excite the body. So water on its own won't do it. So and I thought that sort of rings true. So because I was smashing a lot of water, thinking I'm rehydrating, but I'm really, in some ways, I think just dulling the process. So just to regenerate with electrolytes was definitely got me back up, and kicking again. So did you ever find that? Have you ever made yourself sick in the sauna? Like sometimes if your immune system's low, you can go too far.
This is one very common condition when we see in sports medicine with marathon runners. They used to drink just water, and then that's when they start to have hyponatremia type symptoms. So you really gotta add that salt component into the fluid, especially the sodium is the big one, because sodium keeps the blood pressure high.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, spot on.
So
I forgot to mention that. Sorry, I forgot to mention to all the people at home that Omer is a specialist in sports and exercise medicine. So he knows a thing or two about the human body and what it's capable of, and and obviously you're scratching that itch when it comes to hot and cold. Do you do a bit of cold therapy as well? Have you tried jumping in ice baths?
Yeah, well, I don't have a setup because this is backyard, and I try to obviously get into the shower as quick as I can, but even that period gets you to cool down a bit, so it's harder to get under the cold water.
Yes,
but I try
for sure.
It just makes that big difference. Like trying to experience that more and more, but there is a trick there. I guess everyone's tolerance is a little bit different, and
most
that's
definitely
an additional thing we should generally consider in terms of, all right, how hard should we go, and what is the particular person's tolerance limit? Because you're dehydrated, and then all of a sudden you come from 60 degrees, and then you pour yourself into something either 10, 15, 20 degrees.
Yes.
And that's a big stress to the human body.
Yeah.
Although when I was preparing to your talk today, because I made a bit of a literature update on sauna and health benefits, so I did a lot of reading. So they did.
Well,
actually
please share. What have you learnt?
They actually studied the hot and cold exposure one after another in randomized manner.
Okay.
So the population they did the study actually included patients with heart disease as well. So they did not encounter an adverse event, even in that group, when they entered cold water after a sauna session. So, look, it appears to be still a safe thing, but having said that, we still need to be somewhat, cautious about, calling our friends into our place, which, let's admit, we're not 20 anymore. All of our age group is kind of like now heading towards, all right, I'm in the middle risk zone. So then you gotta assess what's my health state. Like, I'm gonna do a cold plunge after this, but what's question one would be, have I done this before? Question two would be, do I feel ready for it mentally? Question
Yes.
three,
Yep.
all right, let's put on some risk factors, like let's sort them out. Do I have a family history of, heart disease, early
Yes.
death?
Yep.
Have
Yep.
I ever sustained a heart problem, or do I have an
Mm.
arrhythmia? Like those are the things, especially, I guess, are important. So I
Hmm.
have my friends coming over, and I'm so like, okay, you want to experience this? By all means, if you want to do a cold plunge, go for it.
Yep.
If you if something happens, I
It's
don't
on
take
you.
responsibility. Yeah, I can maybe just get you to the
Yeah.
ambulance safely, but it's like no one can promise this is a safe exercise in that regards because this is, as I said, this is a
Yes.
stressful thing to the human body.
Yep. Well, Omen, next anytime you come up to Brisbane, I'd like to invite you up here because I also have a cold plunge out the back, right? And
Yeah.
anyone that comes into the sauna for a sauna sesh, I generally take them through the deluxe package, where we do a bit of breath work. We then jump in the ice bath, and we're kind of doing it in the wrong order, but just to get the podcast out of the way. And then we jump in the sauna for the podcast. And then we generally end with a sauna because we're sort of just like I have to keep the door open. Otherwise, these things just heat up ridiculously. So, but yeah, I've only had one guest, and I always sort of pre-screen everyone that comes up. And he said to me that he'd love to do it, but he said he's had some heart conditions and heart problems in the past. And I said, let's not do the ice bath. And even with the sauna, I didn't turn it on because I just didn't want to be that guy. So, how did the sauna session go? Yeah, great. The guy
Absolutely,
died,
absolutely.
but it was awesome. Yeah. So I just didn't. So I make sure I exactly pre-screen people before they come
Absolutely.
in
Just
and
waiting for you
make
to
sure that
on break
their
at the moment.
health is up there. But I think even with that, mate, even with myself. I'm very cautious about doing the cold plunge when no one's here, no one's home. So I think because what I generally do is put my head under first and then come up and then I'll do it for 4 minutes at sometimes between 1 and 3 degrees. And then at the end, I'll dunk
Wow.
my head again for about 20 seconds. And now I don't do that every time because if I'm home alone, I'd hate for my wife to come home and find a popsicle in the chest freezer. So I'm very careful about that to, don't overdo it because you just if you pass out, you're gone. You're in a hell of strife. So and you'll never know about it. So yeah, just I'm always on the cautious side when I do the ice bath, but yeah, and it's also monitoring yourself and how you feel. Like if my immune system is down and I feel a little bit, under the weather, I actually won't do any of this at all. Really, like if I'm like, I think a couple of months ago I was really crook. I don't know if it was COVID or something, but and then you slowly, like I was doing 5 minute saunas. Like I was just slowly getting back into it, and it's just how you feel because as I said before, like you've made yourself sick before, have you, doing a sauna? Have you overdone it? Just gone a little bit too far?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I wanted to cover. Like when
Mm,
when it is too much is a good question for sauna from the health perspective.
mm,
Um, so the general consensus here is when your body says it feels too hot.
yep. Hmm. Yeah. Just
So
listen
that's
to your
when
body.
correct. So I typically decide that point when I feel like there is a cardiovascular stress. So it means there
Yep.
is an effort in my chest somewhat,
Yes.
heart
Yep.
trying to pump it a bit more, or I'm
Mm,
kind of like feeling a bit breathless. Not that breathless
yes.
from the breath perspective, but it's the heart perspective. That's when I
Yep.
said, this is it. Session is over. I'm gonna stand up slowly. That's the key. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stand up slowly, approach to the door, and then get into the chair and get some water. That's my
That's
that's my
actually
typically, yeah.
that's actually a good point. I never thought about that. That some people probably rise way too quick and you can pass out especially if you're down very low in the sauna. So yeah, I've never thought about that. But yeah, rise
Yeah,
slowly.
unfortunately, we have a really tragic incident back in Turkey.
Yeah.
Uh, a very famous man, like a TV man and actor, actually fainted in a sauna, and
Yeah.
he hit his head,
Oh
and
no.
we
Yep.
went into coma, and he was in coma, I guess, for 10 years or something, and then he passed.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All from a sauna incident.
So
Yeah, that's no. Got to be careful. Yeah.
having said
Just
that, I
yeah.
also investigated the adverse reactions into those climates and experiences. Yeah, so I had a look at
Yeah.
that as well.
Okay.
I did my
Excellent.
I did my homework.
What did you
So
find?
it's appears to be the humid ones are the most dangerous ones, which I
Yes.
always felt that way before as well. Like, what's
Okay.
the idea of that steam room anyways? Like, that's humid and trying to be hot as well. Like, I just couldn't get my head around it. I just feel absolutely uh like I just can't breathe in a steam room. I don't know how people can stand that.
Okay.
So the
Okay. Yep.
literature also suggests that. So adverse reactions into like those kind of experiences were highest in those humid
Gotcha.
environments because what it does is when the humidity is above a certain level, then you can't get the heat away from your body.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so it becomes
You're trapped.
super hard for the body.
Yep.
Yeah, super hard for the body
Yes.
to regulate it.
Yep.
So that's when these things can happen. So it's same like exercising in a hot and humid condition as opposed to hot and dry condition. They are very
Yes.
different.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Because yeah, look, there's a couple of times where you may just go even. So you're probably talking more steam room. Is it like with just the room full of steam? But even like I've got a steam sauna. I don't know if hang on, I could probably just take it this way. So I've got the hot rocks, right, and that's a six
Same,
kilowatt
same.
heater. Sorry.
What it does though, I
Yep.
know this. I throw the water onto the rocks as well. What it
Yep.
does though, it never reaches up to that level of humidity. So you increase the humidity by 5%, 10% temporarily with the sauna,
Yep.
and then it
Yep.
drops again to,
Yes.
according to Finnish people, should be around, some say 20%, some say 30 to 40%, but never
Yep.
above 50 I haven't heard of in a sauna. That's why they're
Yes.
called, regardless of how much water you pour in, they are still
Yep.
dry saunas.
Dry sauna, yeah, spot on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is confusing to most people, I think, because you're throwing water on the
Absolutely,
rocks. But
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So it is. I had to look that up many times. I'm like, what do they mean? This is dry sauna. I've got a bucket of bloody water here. You know? Oh, mate, look, it's and I sent a hat down to you. What happened to the hat?
Well, I lost the hat. Long story short, I'm like, but I have my own. I'm gonna show it to you.
Okay, let's see what you've got, mate.
In the meanwhile, I'm gonna feed this one a bit more.
Yep, yeah, yeah. It looks quite relaxing in the background there, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it
you're
looks
more
like
than
it
welcome
should be
anytime.
it should be your screenshot, mate, for your computer screen.
You
It's
know,
nice.
just yesterday I was in my friend's place, and
Yep.
then we had an open fireplace, and I just did a slow-mo video shot and showed it to
Yeah.
him, and I said, well, you can use this as a call background, which I used. Like I
Yes.
recorded my fire in a slow-mo, and this is my call background
Yeah,
on the phone.
mate. That
You
hat
know,
looks very similar to the hat that I'm wearing right now. Um,
yeah.
except, mate, I've just got these ones printed up at the printing shop. Sauna seshes with Shay. I got that put on, but I think we've got the
All right.
same pattern, mate. I think we've got exactly the
Wow.
same hats. So there you
There you
go.
go.
If you
So
come up,
am I
mate,
in the
I'll have
club
to get.
now?
I think so, for sure. Yeah. I should have got you wearing that from the start, mate. You know, yeah. I was the only one looking like an idiot through the for the last 20
Oh
minutes, but
no.
yeah, yeah. Now,
Sorry, I shouldn't let you feel that lonely.
do you wear the sauna beanie in the sauna? Because I tend to put mine on quite
I do.
yeah, a lot. Yeah. And do you know the
Yeah,
benefits of
well,
having the sauna beanie?
from what I know, I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. So your head doesn't get super hot, so you tolerate the body temperature going high a bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, hot air rises, so your feet are going to be the coldest, and like I'm in a barrel sauna, so my feet, I put them up on the seat here because that'll heat them up as well. But obviously, your head's in the hottest part of the sauna where the heat rises, so it just regulates your head temperature. But I think it also protects your hair, because if you're doing it a lot, then your hair can get very wiry, and it takes the goodness out of your hair. So I think it protects your hair as well. So it's got it's a two-prong attack to it. So, but yeah, and also you look like an idiot, and which is all part of the fun. So
That's it. That's it. We
that's
made
it.
with my old fella whom we did the electric stuff with. So
Yes.
he's also in love with the sauna, right? So he comes
Yep.
regularly, and
Yeah.
we have our sessions. Hi, Biani, if you're listening to this, mate. So we ended up making fun that we now belong to the tinfoil society.
Yeah. ET phone home, and you're doing a bit of this.
Yeah, that's it.
The Tinfoil Society. That's yeah. Is that where you have all the cans of soup in the panic room, and waiting for the aliens to come? The Tinfoil Society.
Well,
Well,
maybe talk
hang
through
on.
that. They can't listen to you.
Is it the tinfoil hat? Is it so that the aliens can't read your thoughts? But they're not on the same frequency. I'll have to
Well,
look into the tin
either
hat,
that or
but
the
I
5G
think it's got
doesn't
something.
affect your brains.
Yeah, yes. Shit, mate. That's a story for another day.
Did you hear me?
I'm very aware of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but if you've got Bluetooth headphones on now.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little bit wary of it, and I wear them to the gym, but I don't think it's doing you any good. Like you know what I mean? Like, because I wear mine, and I'm starting to go more to wired ones, because and even like having the phone right beside your head, I'm always wired in and talking to people. And I think they're starting to do studies now. Like, I think they put bacteria in a room with 5G or something, and it wilted and died really quickly, as opposed to a room without it. I think the studies are starting to come out, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when there's a really, like back in the day, because I'm a video producer, I used to go to hospitals or universities to upload my videos, because I may had a 3 or 4 gigabyte video, and if I was to do it from home, it'd take 8 hours to upload. So I'd go sit in
Yeah,
a
right.
hospital, but I felt like it was this hot, thick soup of Wi-Fi. Do you know what I mean? Like when there's a lot of it, and you just it's invisible, but I feel that there's something there that is not good for human consumption.
I get that.
So
I
yeah,
get that in shopping malls.
yeah, yeah. There you go. Yep. Just things are pinging off, and if you're in a shopping mall, they're everywhere, aren't they? So yeah, I'm very wary about not creating holes in my brain, or whatever's going on. But yeah, it's definitely something. I think they're doing more research on that, but I don't think it's good for humans. Wi-Fi, stay away.
Yeah, as much as you can.
That's it. That's it, mate. And you actually put me on to Rhonda Patrick. So I started doing a
Yeah.
bit of research on her, and I think she's the American scientist who's into health and well-being, and she's done a lot of study on saunas. You've dabbled with her? You've researched her a bit as well?
I came across one of her talks in YouTube, I guess, and then I'm like, all right,
Yep.
this girl seems to be knowing what she's talking about. And then I listened to a few more, and she does a pretty good summary
Yeah.
of the available research on a given subject. And a couple
Yep.
of her talks were about, I guess, there's a one famous one just about saunas, and the study she
Yes.
mentions there I actually went through it again before talking to you today. That's a good study
Okay.
comparing people's sauna habits in a prospective manner. So they followed
Yes.
these guys for 15 years in Finland,
Okay.
and they found more than half the risk reduction of cardiovascular disease in people who use the sauna at least 4 times a week, compared to
That's a crazy
once
stat,
every
isn't it?
2. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
unbelievable. And then they also corrected other risk factors, like if you have a cholesterol, if you have a family history of heart disease, and all that. So
Yep.
when they took all those into account, the outcome was still so significant The
Mm.
sad part from my perspective of that study is that it shows having it twice a week still doesn't get you there. So you really got to get that 4 times a week.
Yeah, you've got to.
That's very
Was it either
difficult.
doing it in one day, but doing 3 or 4 rounds like back to back, or like staggering it and doing it, as you said, 4 times a week. That I think they did a few studies, but they found that if you did it, 3 20-minute sessions in a day, but it's just getting that time to do that, and then obviously having a
Mm.
break, going in, cooling, and then coming back. I just remember reading something about that, and the health benefits behind doing that was just huge. But yeah, as you said, you can stagger it over the week and do 4 or 5 sessions, say 20 to 30 minutes in over a week, and it's got the same effects. But as you said, like heart disease and heart failure get subside by 50%. Like that's crazy. And do you know what, mate?
Crazy.
I actually think, I don't know about you, but I had the vaccine. I had 2 AstraZeneca shots, and I felt very unwell. And I felt the heart was fluttering, and if I had my time again, I wouldn't get it. But I noticed when I started doing the ice baths and the sauna, all that stuff went away. And I feel like it's really humming along nicely, the heart. Saying that now, I may have a heart attack tomorrow, but I feel after doing all these things, but I did notice after I got the vaccine, I couldn't move, but I did notice there was flutters within my heart, and I think a lot of people have dealt with similar things. Have you heard anything about that?
So I had so many patients being affected by COVID shots as well as COVID
Yep.
itself. And
Mm.
from the way of literature, like the science works, you got to really compare your data in big pieces. It's not like random, this person had that side effect and that person actually died. Doesn't make
Yep.
sense if you look at that particular perspective. But when you look at the big data, yes, the vaccines can give you some heart side effects like arrhythmia, dysrhythmia,
Mm.
or severe allergic reactions. But when you
Yep.
compare that to the actual disease, it's nearly 10 times more with the disease itself.
Yep.
So when I hear something like you experience, for instance, and a patient or a relative comes and tells me that,
Yep.
my typical response is, um, first of all, yes, it can be caused by it,
Yep.
but the risk is like 10 times less having
Yes.
compared to having an infection. Plus, you don't know if you actually had the infection without the vaccine, then maybe you wouldn't
It's it's
survive.
it's very hard to pinpoint what's going on, but yeah, it's I don't look. I just know myself. I didn't educate myself on it enough when I got it done. But also my wife, if she didn't get 2 shots, she would have lost her job. So in some ways, I was kind of supporting her. But if I what I know, if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have got those shots. But yeah, look, each to their own, because I know that everyone's having different. Some people obviously, as you said, unhealthier than others, and there could have been predisposed things within their systems. But yeah, but at the end of the day, I find that the hot cold thing for me has just been, and this is a big reason I've started this podcast and got you on it, because I'm interested in what other people experiences have been, and so it's just been a bit of a life changer for me, because I've always done it, but not to the level that I'm doing it now. And like it's crazy how you can start the day with some hot cold therapy, and the rest of your day, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're winning, and you got a smile on your face, and that's a really cool feeling. So and I want to share that, I think, with everyone. But I think you've had similar things with the health with sauna, what does a day look like for you after a sauna or a night? Do you generally having the saunas of a morning or an afternoon or an evening?
Oh, I don't have a chance to do it in the morning at all. So I typically do it at night after when everything's finishes. So when I finish it, I'm also really
Right.
like cooled down. the biggest change in my
Yep.
life was obviously I use this as my man cave. That's number one
Yeah.
because that's
Yep.
slightly detached from the house. It's somewhere a little bit out of the sight, and when you're
Yes.
in, you don't hear much screams coming from above. Uh,
Okay.
because I have two
And if
boys,
you
right?
if you do if you do, you just ignore them. Just-
That's it. You just dive in and then you
yep.
open your maybe crank up your music a little bit more.
Yes. Yeah. 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 So what? I didn't hear anything. I was in the zone. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the most profound physiological benefit I would say on my life was the improving sleep quality. So
Yes.
my
Huge.
I am
Mm.
I am sleeping like a baby after this session.
Yep.
Uh, it's just the biggest thing. Like I can't really talk enough about it. It's much easier than, trying to rely on a pill to get into sleep, and
Ah,
it's
I
much
totally agree.
safer. Yeah, it's just so good. So obviously there are many more benefits, but from
Yep.
my perspective, sleep was a big thing. And as you said, from
Yes.
the even they studied actually heart failure patients who already had a cardiac infarction
Yep.
or another event like a stroke, and they actually used sauna, and their
Yep.
cardiac functions improved. So pretty much explains your situation that the heart
Yes.
actually starts working much stronger
Ah, for
after
sure.
repeated sauna sessions, which
Yep.
is crazy. Like maybe
Yep.
some of these people will never end up doing a good enough exercise, but they might feel actually better trying a sauna session.
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. And look, I think a bit of the science behind that too is your core temperature when it drops. So I think your core temperature has to drop for you to sleep. Because if you're awake and hot and sweating, you're going to find it very hard to sleep. So when you get out of the sauna, your core temperature is a couple of degrees cooler. And so when you get into the bed, you're out like a light, and you just that. And to me, I don't know, it's a blissful slumber. That's the only way I can explain it. It's like it's a really lovely sleep, and the dream, even dreams are more lucid and but they're they're not horrific. Like my wife, sometimes it sounds like an axe murderer is chasing her. I don't know what's going on in her dreams, right? But she's not doing the sauna, that's for sure. But I just feel like you're floating on a cloud in some way. So everything that's going on in your head feels good as well. So yeah, I definitely, a sauna before bed, and just a little bit of rehydration is it's just magical. Just to and I don't know about you, but mate, I hit the pillow, my head hits the pillow, and I'm out within 15, 20 seconds. I'm gone.
Really? Oh, I wish I had that. I'm never that
Yeah.
good. Even with the sauna, mate. That's no chance.
Yeah. Well,
How
mate,
many
look, it's
sessions you
getting
do a week?
probably I'd say probably five.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
like, 4 to 6. I do. Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
you're
So
in you're in the good zone, mate. You're already in the good bracket.
yeah, mate. Yeah, yeah. Mate. It's as I said. It's just my skin. Everything is just better for doing it. So, yeah. I'll never stop the saunas, mate. But, mate, look, I'd like to take. My wife will get jealous, but I'd love to take a screen capture. Like that fire in the background, mate, is roaring. So,
Yeah. Let me try to get you a little bit into the sauna, maybe.
okay, let's have a look. Let's go for a quick tour of the sauna. Um, this is and it's a barrel sauna.
No, I'll show you the outside actually. So this
Okay.
is a little bit
It's a
like a
different
dome
shape.
shape.
It's not round. Okay.
Can you see? Yeah.
Bit
So
tricky to see, but you got what corrugated iron up there?
yeah. So I added those water
Yep.
repellent thingies because this is
Okay.
an
Yep.
outside thing, and I was a little bit not comfortable
Yep.
with the water getting in.
Okay.
So I'll just open the door for a better visual.
Yeah.
So that's how it
Your
works.
door works a lot better than mine. Mine gets jammed. Mate, that's beautiful. That's amazing. It looks so good.
Yeah.
And are you getting up
So
on the top?
yeah. So I have obviously a step and a single seat. So I don't have any second level,
Yes.
but that's where I usually put
Okay.
myself up all the way, lie down, and I'm overlooking to a bush.
Right. Excellent. So it's a room with a view, mate.
room with a view. There's that
That's
backside
awesome, mate.
is a
Yeah,
glass. So I have no one there,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. Awesome,
pretty comfortable.
mate. We better start to wrap it up because it's getting a little bit dark down your way. But mate, I appreciate your time so much to come on and have a chat and educate everyone at home on what makes you tick, your sauna, the wood-fired sauna. As I said, I'd like to make my wife a little bit jealous now and make the shot that you've got right there as my screenshot for my on my phone. Because that fire burning in the background is just gorgeous, mate. But I really appreciate your time coming on and sharing your stories because I think, look, if someone listens to this and says, all right, I'll even just go down the gym and have a crack and see how you feel afterwards, I guarantee you're going to feel better. And then it becomes, a routine. It becomes addictive, and I think having these things in the backyard, mate. I don't know about you, but I never take it for granted to have this thing here and to sit in. Like I sit in here a lot with my wife, and we just discuss, life and what's going on. It's like having a coffee of a morning. So. Because we're not bringing phones in here, we're doing things, we're conversing without all the technology. So, mate, really appreciate your time and thanks for coming on for a sauna sesh with us.
It was pleasure. It was pleasure. Always happy to. And maybe we should do version 2 in your place next time.
Mate, you are more than welcome. Anytime that you come up to, do you ever come up for, I don't know, for your work? If you ever come up here, mate, you're always welcome, and we'll definitely stay tuned for version 2 because I'll get you in my sauna and I'll take you through the deluxe package, mate. We'll do the breath sesh, the ice bath, and then end with the podcast here. But mate, thank you so much.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share. If you've got any questions, yell out. And if you've got any questions for Omer, let me know and I'll send them his way because, he's, I think I know this much about what's going on. He studies it. He knows this much. So, please send any questions my way and I'll send them on. Guys, thank you so much. And Omer, thank you, mate. And we'll catch you guys for the next one.